All right, let's get into today's show. I want to kick off by, as I said, is it possible to unite the left and the right? I've got a couple of clips I want to play, so I'll play the RFK one first because it's the warm, fuzzy one, and then I'll play the Ron Desantis one, and let's have a little conversation about that. All right, here we go.
Podcast all the time, which is the healing power of love, of uniting people from the left and the right in a populist rebellion against these, this superstructure. And I don't know if it will work, but that's what I'm trying to do. I'm going to go forward as if I believe that it was going to work, and I'm seeing, the tremendous power coming from, people now. More and more people on the left are joining my campaign. I had calls this week from Jeffrey Sachs, from Ralph Nader, from many other kind of liberal leaders who are, part of the superstructure of the, liberal democracy forever. And of course, on the right, the groups that were vilifying each other continue to vilify each other. The profit of that, that cabal that you're talking about, the uniparty cabal, the worst thing that they can imagine is that we can unify far left and far right in a revolution against this corrupt merger of state and corporate power. And that is, my plan. That's what I'm going to try to do. And so far things are going well.
All right, so it's a bit of an experiment that he's running, and he even says in that interview with Russell Brand that what he's doing is an experiment, and Russell Brand loves it, right? He's the freedom, hippie loving, free love for everybody type thing scenario, and I think he really resonates with that message, although I think Russell Brand is very conservative in his ideas. He really resonates with that message of love and kindness. So just put a pin in that for a second, and let's have a look at what Mr. Sanctimonious has to say for himself, because I think it's the complete opposite, and I love this juxtaposition of that. Check it out.
Party in 2024. Obviously, the front runner is President Donald Trump. When I go out and I talk to Americans, I don't know that you all share all the same policy positions. I don't know that you share the same personality, but you do share a base of Republicans. Most of the people that support you probably voted for President Trump twice. And the first comment I hear over and over again is, why doesn't Ron DeSantis wait for President Trump's second term and then run? And what is your best answer? Why is right now the time for Ron DeSantis to run for president?
Because everyone knows if I'm the nominee, I will beat Biden and I will serve 2 terms, and I will be able to destroy leftism in this country and leave woke ideology on the dustbin of history. At the end of the day, I've shown in Florida an ability to win huge swaths of voters that Republicans typically can't win, while also delivering the boldest agenda anywhere in the country. And I think there's a reason why the legacy media is attacking me more than they're attacking anybody else, because I think they realize that if I'm successful in winning the Republican nomination, we're going to bring it home in the general election. And I pledge to Republican voters, if you nominate me, I will be taking the oath of office on January 20th, 2025 on the west side of the Capitol. No excuses, no more excuses about why we can't get it done. We need to get it done, and I will get it done.
He's not very warm, is he? He has what we call here in Australia a resting bitch face. But the male version of that, I don't know what the male version of that is, but his face is like, it's like, dude, maybe like smile with your eyes a little bit. Maybe if you were a little bit warmer, you're going to get a bit more cut through.
Well, he only has like a 15-second time clip. I mean, how many emotions is he supposed to share in 15 seconds? Give him a setting, and don't worry, he'll come. He's a good guy. He's a funny guy, actually.
Is he?
Yeah, you'll get a chance to see other sides of him. Yeah, don't worry about that.
Must be hard going from interview to interview, answering the same questions over and over again constantly as well.
Well,
he's got to think on his feet and doing that. It's like a very hard thing to do.
Well, I'm sure his answers are very well thought out by this time, right? That's one of the things about long campaigns is you want to start early so you can get through all of those questions that you know are going to be coming, so you can get your pitch down, you can get your phrases down, you can give your answers, so there are few surprises. But this is why governors tend to do better running for president than senators do, because they do more of these kind of substantive, policy interviews, right? So
they've got to sell their policies, don't they?
Yeah,
and
right.
They're used to selling their policies.
Yeah, and they study the policies, right? They get deep into it because they're the executive decision makers for their government, for their local government. But listen, I think DeSantis is onto something here, because this whole idea of, I know we're going to be talking about, the flower power versus, the iron fist here.
Hold on. Let me put your graphic up. Destruction of the left, perhaps a better way.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you on Ronnie's side of the ledger? Are you, where he says that that's what he's going to do. He's going to destroy the radical left.
Yeah, I am, and I'll tell you why I think he's got a winning strategy there, because if you look at what's been at the pushback that's going on right now against wokist corporations, this is a relatively new phenomenon. Literally, like in the past 3 weeks, 4 weeks, we've seen a spate of populist revolt against companies that are obviously woke. Now, companies like Target, they've been woke for an awful long time. I mean, the things that they've been doing, but they didn't kind of, not on the sly, but they didn't publicize it. But when there's been this flourish of internet, shorts and YouTube videos, people talking about this issue, it's coming, and it's rising to the top really, really fast. This issue is top of mind right now, and the quiet, silent, majority, they're starting to get ticked off. That's what got Trump into office. Is the silent majority said, finally, we have someone sticking up for us. And it's the same phenomenon with DeSantis. He's going to fill that role of somebody who's finally fighting for us, because conservatives and traditionalists tend not to be the squeaky wheel. They're too busy leading their lives. They don't push their ideology and the morals on other people, unlike the left that does, right? And so when you're a noisemaker, when you're a disagreeable person or a disagreeable movement, you tend to get more things done because you are willing to be more disagreeable. And sometimes people say, all right, whatever, just go away, and they go along with it. And that's kind of their strategy. Well, now the silent majority, I think, is they've gotten to a point right now where enough is enough. When you start going after the kids, and you told me, you said, mama bears, man, look out for the mama bears. And you're right. When you start going after the kids and forcing things upon the kids without the parents knowing about it, that's a bridge too far. And so that whole woke movement now is being really resented by the public. So I think DeSantis is, I think he's very aware of that, and he's going to milk that for all of its worth. And I think that's a winning strategy.
So what about on the other side of the ledger there, where RFK is saying, I think with a message like I've got, I can bring the radical left and the radical right together to find some common ground. And I think what he's to his point, I like his idea. I like what he's trying to do. I like what he stands for. But the problem is that on that side of politics, they've said there's no other candidates. There's only one candidate. So what's he even doing it for?
Yeah, well, in a lot of ways, he sounds like a conservative. He's bringing up a lot of conservative issues. So I think his best bet is to capture a lot of the conservative base out there. That look, if he gets the nomination, he's going to have the liberals anyway, right?
But how can he even get the nomination if they've said no, Joe Biden's running?
That's his big issue, and I don't know whether he can capture that, because the deep state and the machine, they're not going to like the messages that RFK is spouting. A lot of the messages, right? A lot of his
Have you
messages.
Heard his message about the CIA? What he said?
It's been proven now that they killed his uncle.
Yeah. So, but did you see how he said he's going to try and reform it?
Oh yeah. And I think he even quoted in that interview that you had there, with Russ, is that who was it with? It was with
Russell Brand.
Yeah, Russell Brand. He told him, listen, I talked to DeSantis about this topic, and he said, well, so what are you going to do about the NIH? And he said, DeSantis is responsible. I'm going to burn it to the ground, right? And he thought, and his answer is, well, I think more of a surgical approach is better, because there are plenty of patriots inside of the CIA, people who are good moral people with good moral fibers. The problem is really at the top, and he's probably right about that. I've no doubt that there are a lot of good patriots inside of the CIA. But listen, Hitler thought he was a patriot too. So right.
Not that you're drawing a comparison there. He does a good job though in the interview there. I'll grab the links at the end of this. I'll put the links down in the show notes so everybody can see it. But if you don't know, folks, what RFK is proposing, he said that there's really two parts to the CIA. There's the analyst part, the intelligence gathering, espionage part, which they do overseas, they do it offshore. Remember, spies don't actually do anything. Spies are actually in countries to recruit other people to do the spying for them. It's not like some sort of Jason Bourne movie where there's operators like that are, working around some other parliament building, looking in filing cabinets or something like that. That's not what they're doing. They're getting the people that work in those buildings to do that for you. But what he was saying was there's two parts. There's the espionage spying part of it, but then there's the black ops part of it. And the two things were intertwined. And he said if you can unravel those two things, then the people conducting the surveillance and the espionage operations in the best interest of the United States would then